Jay Moore Show, back on the air. The infamous Jay Moore Show.
We made it, Pat Porter. How you doing?
I'm doing
Mr.
well.
Moore, you're Pat Porter, and we've introduced ourselves to the audience, and we're on 4680Q, which I know you like to do all the time.
We're about 30 seconds late on account of the cough drop I had.
Always 30 seconds late.
Get
Always
rid
a
of the
problem.
cough drop in my throat. I didn't want to be chewing a cough drop while I was talking on the radio.
Well, you could use your cough button while I introduce.
My
if
cough
there
button.
is one, I don't know.
I have a cough button, but you don't have a cough button.
At least
So
we got a working microphone.
I'm
today.
allowed to cough, and you're not.
That's right.
We're getting a new microphone, by the way, for next week. We'll have a brand new microphone.
That's great. You know.
Yeah.
I'm sure the audience is very, very happy that we're going to get a new microphone.
I talked to
We're
Rick Rose,
broadcasting it.
4680Q here, .ca. I talked to Rick Rose, and I said, Rick, we got to have another microphone. Jay's having a fit. He's going on the air. He's telling everybody that everything's broken down.
Yeah.
So he says, okay, I'll get one quick.
Yeah.
So you'll have it by next week.
Right. Well, we'll see about that.
Well,
We'll see about that.
There you go. Yeah. But once we get that, we'll have we'll bring back Ricky Slick and say we'll give you a new mic here.
Yeah,
Ricky.
last Tuesday we had Ricky Slick in and Joni Jane from Rebel Souls, and I which was probably great for you, Pat Porter, did minimal talking because I had to keep giving my mic over to Ricky Slick and and Joni Jane.
Yeah.
So-
Joni had a lot to say.
Yeah, great guest and a great time having Rebel Souls in here.
Yeah, they're going to be at Whiskey and Walleye with the Svengali show.
Yeah, I think it's July 20th if I remember it off the top of my head, but I'm not 100% sure. But you can go to Rebel Souls and check all that out. You can go to Whiskey and Walleye, check all that out, and
Check it all out.
Svengali, you can go check all that out. So
You got it. Well, there we go. when they tell us they're coming back on with us, we'll give them another plug.
yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
We're waiting for the check to clear right now.
all right, we got no check, so
All right.
we've given you enough.
Let's talk about the sponsors and the partners that we have.
Yeah, that do
Because
pay.
we got a lot.
All right,
This is Blues with the Feeling. Now it's back for the 20th time.
all right.
And that's going to be coming up soon, May 11th. It's going to be at the Leander Boat Club in
Yes,
Hamilton.
yes.
That's where we go every year and do this.
Yes.
Steve Strongman is going to be there supporting the memory of King Biscuit Boy, Hamilton's foremost exponent of the blues, the late Richard Newell. Brant Parker is going to be back there. Once again, Brant Parker is always popular in the blues.
Yeah, one of the king of the blues here in Southern Ontario.
Yeah, and a guy named Carlos Del Junco is
Right.
going to be there as well. So it's going to be a great show. Yeah, we're going to be on stage to get everybody started.
Yeah, and I happen to know that some jazz radio stations, I've been told, in the Hamilton area have been talking about it and pumping it up. And but there's no need because Leander Boat Club always fills up every time they do these shows.
Yeah, you got to tell everybody. Don't wait till the night of the show to get your ticket.
You will get shut out.
Yeah,
So-
it's going to be sold out.
Get that in advance.
Okay, HQ Studio in Fairview Mall in St. Catharines, hair quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now, Jay, sorry you can't get your hair cut there.
No, I cannot.
But,
I can get my eyebrows trimmed, maybe.
You can get they need hair to cut before you can come in and sit down. But get your eyebrows trimmed, nose hairs. I don't think they'll do that, but they might, if you ask them nicely. Hair coloring, cutting, design, styling, makeup enhancement services, hair extensions. They'll add volume or length or color, and they're open 7 days a week. So make your appointment and get down to hair quarters in the Fairview Mall in St. Catharines.
Yeah, your one-stop shop, Pat.
Yeah, a great place. They're really friendly there too.
Of course they are.
All the
Yeah.
stylists are just great. They come every time I've gone in there. They come running out to the front. Hey, Pat, how you doing? How you doing?
Yeah, and you know what? I always like going to a hairstylist, even though I don't anymore. But I always like going to a hairstylist that's in a mall.
Yeah.
Because you can get other things done while you're there, or you can send your significant other out to do the groceries
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
right. Yeah, you got Chapters there.
You got That's exactly it. You
Yeah.
got Chapters there. You got
Zehrs.
I don't know if Zehrs exactly. I don't know if Mark's Warehouse moved out, but
They're a different mall right now, but they do
Yeah.
have a lot of other stores there that are
And
they've got a giant Staples store there.
and the other great thing is if you go in behind that mall. You could go to the Home Depot. You can go to PetSmart. Everybody needs those things. You can send the kids down to the bowling
Lazy
alley.
Boy, they got the big Lazy Boy
Right.
Emporium right
Ashley's
nearby
Furniture,
there.
yeah.
And so we want to tell you also that the Standard Reader's Choice Award for 2023 went to Natalia Morlicetti. She won it, Hair Quarters Studio, Fairview Mall.
Nice.
In the category of hairstylist and barber. So congratulations on that.
Nice.
Wow, 42 years in business at Hair Quarters. They got to be doing something right.
Anybody that's 42 years in business is doing something
You
right.
got it, yeah. Herndon Estate Wines. Now, they've got a lot of things that are going to be happening outdoors in the spring and summer. Now, the weather's got to get a little bit warmer, a little bit better. But coming up June 23rd, it's a Sunday. They're going to have Rhythm and Soul in Niagara Wine Country. Junior Hardy Trio is going to be performing. Also, that's 6 till 9 o'clock, but they're going to be there the 21st of July, another Sunday, and August 18th, Sunday as well, for Rhythm and Soul in Niagara Wine Country. Get your tickets again ahead of time. It'll save you trouble of, wondering if you're going to get in when it's that day. Mm-hmm. We had Dale Ann Melnick on yesterday.
Yeah.
She's probably maybe driving back from Ottawa today, maybe tomorrow, but she's up there for a big tournament in volleyball where she coaches students. And not only that, but we talked to her yesterday about her recruiting, sixpackrecruitingsports.com. And just go there, set up a phone call with Dale Ann Melnick and move your career in sports and athletic achievement and also your university education paid for free. I couldn't believe that. She was sending people to UCLA in California and to Duke University down in North Carolina.
Busy woman, Pat.
Free.
And I listened to the show yesterday, tuned in, and she happened to do a lot more talking than you did.
She's got more to say than I do.
She could do the show herself.
Yeah, she could.
Yeah.
She's very good. She's very smooth. And, if you have a student, a female volleyball student in high school, grade 9, 10, 11, 12, give her a call. Just go to the website, sixpackrecruiting.com, and set up a call, and she'll tell you all you need to know.
And what's interesting about that show, if you did miss it yesterday, you should go back in the YouTube and check out the archives. It's the latest episode up there because there's a lot of interesting things that I didn't know about. I didn't know about any of this stuff.
Really?
And how should they go about the recruiting and how it's done. The process of it was very, very fascinating.
Yeah. And to get yourself a scholarship at UCLA in California, and go down there for 4 years and enjoy the sunshine and play beach volleyball.
With somebody that has a success rate in putting people there, yeah.
30 years at that.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to Club Belvedere. And this is a great new show that's coming up July 13th at 4 o'clock. Downstairs at the club, food and cash bar available. Tickets only $25 at the club, or you can get them online. But Club Belvedere presenting a show called Gypsy Blues Review with J.P. Soares and Ann Harris together. And I've had a chance to listen to a lot of their music, and wow, fantastic.
Sure.
Blues while you're enjoying your dinner. Starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, July 13th. Club Belvedere. Bob Letticoat is a big fan of blues, and J.P. Soares in particular and Ann Harris together as a team. So Club Belvedere in Thorold.
And it seems like Thorold seems to be a blues kind of town. You know what I mean? They love their blues down there with Don Lee's and, of course, that one you're just talking about. What was that, Club Belvedere?
Club Belvedere.
And anything Bob Letticoat surrounds himself with is
the guy
success.
knows what he's doing.
Yes.
I was talking to him last week, and he's got also Canada's rock and blues on the battlefield coming up for Canada Day weekend.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
3 days.
That's right. I've seen
wow.
Vinyl Flux is back.
Yeah.
I've seen Figure 4 is back.
That's right.
Am I right about Jonesy? I think Jonesy.
I believe they're in there too. I don't have it right in front of me.
I don't have it in front of me
think
either.
So.
But some heavy hitters happening on the Monday. That's for sure.
3 days of blues and classic rock and rock blues and. Great. You can seat about 4,000 people there.
Right, and I believe last time we were there it was free, was it not?
Yeah, it's free.
It's a free event,
yeah.
So you can come out there.
Bring your lawn chairs, bring your blankets, whatever.
And I'm not sure if this is the same as last time we were there, but I'm assuming that it will be, that they had alcohol on the site. It was supported by Moose and Goose.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Which is just about a block away, not far away.
That's right.
And Donnelly's Pub, right around the corner there.
But they had it last time, like in the tents, on the grounds. So
you sniffed out the alcohol.
Well, my girlfriend did.
Yeah. All right. So there, we got everybody pretty well covered off. Anybody that wants to be a partner of the show, give us just go to your site, infamousjmore.com.
Yeah, it's all listed there.
Tell us you want in.
Yeah,
and we'll get you all set. We'll put you together.
We're not hard to get a hold of. Get us on the DMs, get us on an email, get us on the Facebook Messenger, do whatever you got to do, and we will service you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you'll be successful, and it's very inexpensive for what you're going to get. You're going to get a pile of promotion.
A couple of the biggest influencers in Niagara right here. Pat Porter and Infamous Jay Moore.
Here, I'll pat you on the back, and you can pat me on the back.
That's right, and just have the audience keep drinking the Kool-Aid.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell everybody what we're doing today in about 7 minutes or so.
Today's going to be a fascinating show, at least to me, Pat Porter. I'm not so sure what the audience is going to think about it, but I think the audience is going to enjoy this because
They're going to be listening with their mouth wide open.
Yeah. Now, as everybody knows, I come from the wrestling business. I'm still involved in the wrestling business, and some of the latest news, well, on Vince McMahon, I think people pretty much know that there's a lot of sexual allegations. General Grant has put some allegations out there on Vince and some of the staff at the WWE. Vince, now no longer part of the WWE, sold all his stock, and some interesting business went down with Vince and what's going on. But what's fascinating to me is that, knowing Vince and doing some work and being in the wrestling business as we all were, I don't think we really knew how crazy this man was. And it's kind of like I'm feeling almost a little bit afraid myself to have this next guest on because I feel maybe I'll be blackballed somehow from the industry. Because this is stuff that doesn't get out. This is stuff that happens behind closed doors.
I don't think you'd be blackballed so much as all of a sudden you would be disappeared.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd be
Some concrete
trying to
shoes.
call for Jay Moore and say, we don't know where he went. He's gone. He disappeared.
Anyways, we have Lee Cole that we'll be talking to via the telephone a little bit later on, and he's very, very heavily involved in some of these mob stories and informants and things that are going on. He's had, run-ins with the mafia. He's had run-ins with the New York mafia. His family has worked for the WWE, and in fact, brother has legit committed suicide and hung himself.
Wow.
And a lot of blame goes on Vince McMahon for this, and a lot of this stuff. This man is putting a lot of information out on his podcast, Wrestling with the Devil. And I just happened to pass along and catch some of the things he were doing, and I felt, hey, I'm gonna take the chance and put him on the show today. So we're gonna get a lot of dirt.
We're gonna live dangerously today.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of dirt on the McMahon family and what's going on with the WWE.
You got your back to the window, so I'll keep an eye out for you.
Yes.
Right here at Chrysler Avenue, Niagara Falls,
Well, it's
Canada.
interesting because when I talked to Lee yesterday, even he himself said he had to check me for security reasons.
Yeah.
He had to check me for security reasons.
He wasn't worried about me.
Well, I think he checked you out too, Pat
probably,
and he was like, I know you're in the wrestling business. What do you know? Because this is what I know.
Yeah.
And he goes, when you're going up against Vince McMahon, Vince McMahon actually had this man arrested.
Yeah.
On our previous occasion. But I'm going to let Lee get in a lot of these stories because he's got a lot of chatter, and we're going to get ourselves in a little bit of trouble today, Pat Porter.
Well, here we go. So we're going to play a song, and then I'm going to see if I can get a hold of him.
All right.
Is he going to call us, or are we going to call him?
We're going to call him, yeah.
Okay, we're going to call him. He's got a secret number that only goes one time.
Yeah, and that number is on a burner phone. It won't be the next number.
All right. Let's play some blues here by the Blues Brothers. Give me some lovin'. We'll get them on soon.
Tell me, baby, I don't know what you got, but you better take it
Give me some lovin'. Blues Brothers, 4680q.ca and 4680q.com. Niagara Falls, Canada is where we are, broadcasting to the world. And we have on the phone right now, infamous Jay Moore, Lee Cole III. Say hello, Jay.
Lee Cole, how you doing, my man? Infamous Jay Moore here.
Good. I appreciate you guys inviting me on.
I appreciate you, Lee, for coming on today because, like I was telling the audience earlier on, I stumbled upon your podcast when this whole Vince McMahon stuff came a little more public, a little more mainstream with the Janelle Grant allegations, and I kind of feel that as the news cycle moved along, that the Vince thing kind of took a bit of a back burner, but I love your podcast and how you've kind of taken a real deep dive into this stuff, and the fact that you've actually had, you and your family had former ties with Vince, you have former ties with the Mafia, as far as, why don't you go ahead and explain what your podcast is, because you do it in great detail.
Well, I have two podcasts. One my partner took over, and that's my mob channel. Like today, we are interviewing Michael Francis.
Right.
On that channel, and then I got the wrestling channel. And the wrestling channel, I walked away from the mob channel because I wanted to come to the wrestling channel because of the situation with Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
Because Vince McMahon for 40 years has been doing horrible things, degenerate stuff. He's had people working for his business that have been doing degenerate stuff.
Yes.
They have abused children, women, and men. There's nobody safe in that company. And I witnessed it firsthand, what they did with my brother, the stuff they did with me,
yes,
and the cover-up that's going on right now.
Now, do you feel like, obviously there's a cover-up going on right now, and it seems to me like you're the man that is willing to put this out there, willing to take them down, like you've actually gone against the Mafia in your former Mafia channels where you've been threatened, all kinds of things have happened, and you have past history with Vince where he actually got you arrested, and the situation with your brother as well. Is there any fear in you doing this, or is it that you are looking to take this man down?
No, I'm not looking to take him down. I just, taking someone down, it's like it has to be just. You just can't not like somebody and take them down.
Yes.
And it's a line of people here. Like when you first came on, you said that this is now on the back burner. It's not. Vince wants us. See, I understand a lot of things that's going out front because I'm dealing with a lot of people that are in the middle of this.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince McMahon has some major problems now. And this is why he's been releasing these statements every couple days about Janelle Grant. And here's the thing with the problem with the wrestling people in wrestling. Vince puts this stuff out, and people believe it, and they have to understand that this is purposely being put out because this is what they do.
Yeah,
the fact of the matter is, whether anybody likes it or not, Vince will be federally charged with many crimes. Right.
Is this now kind of gotten out of his hand? I mean, you talk about a man that was so powerful, at least in his head. Did this just get away from him? Because now it seems like before he had Jerry McDivitt, his lawyer, to lean on, and even it seems like his family is backed out. Even him selling the stock in the company, it just seems like I've never seen Vince so down and so lost.
Well, his family has abandoned him because here's what I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict, being in the mob genre, one thing I'm pretty much very familiar with is what the government does to get people to flip. Mm-hmm. The government never does a case without getting people to flip. That's the key of convicting people.
Yes.
And the most interesting thing is if people think John Laurinaitis or Triple H ain't going to flip on Vince, they're crazy. If those guys are looking at doing time and they can get out of it, they'll flip on Vince in a minute.
Yes. Well, it seems like Laurinaitis is already going that way.
Yes, yeah, because he's part of the lawsuit. And you have to understand this: the lawyers for Janelle Grant are very, very good lawyers, and Vince has never gone up against lawyers like this before. He's usually had the best lawyer. His lawyer's retired now.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, Vince is using a lawyer right now that beat him in a case in January. And this is what Vince does. If Vince gets impressed by a lawyer that takes him on,
Yes.
he'll hire him for himself.
Yes, I noticed that. Wasn't he? Didn't he lose the case against MLW? Is it their lawyers?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, that's
And
crazy.
and it's kind of you've got to question the ethics of that law company to let a company let him hire him like that. That tells you that there's more stuff going on behind the scenes, because that's what happened with my brother's lawyer.
Yeah.
Vince eventually hired him too to do some dirty stuff to us.
Oh, you're crazy. That's amazing. That's insane. Like I just didn't realize. And these are things like, as I talked to you yesterday off air, and you were kind of like had your security on me, saying that I was in the wrestling business. Like, these are things that almost makes me nervous to talk about, like getting blackballed from the industry somehow. But these are things that I think that at least my audience should know about, and I love how you're the one that's putting it out there as to, like, these are things that I don't think I talk about mainstream, yes, but I don't think people know it as deep as you do.
Yeah, and you got your weak-minded people out here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names, but people know who they are. They got shows. Vince puts his stuff out, and they go for it right away. And they're like, "See, we told you." Okay, listen. I'm going to say his name because I really don't care for him. Vince Russo made the most incredibly silly statement, saying that Janelle probably woke up one night, went over, and put text in Vince's phone.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. That's insane.
This is why he sucked at wrestling, being, because he makes up the. Can you imagine his storylines going on in that weird head of his?
Yeah. It almost makes me feel like when I heard that, is he trying to protect his own self? Like maybe he needs a job down the road or something. I don't know. It just seems stupid.
And then Hannibal comes up with like he knows who this woman is. She's a lawyer.
Yeah.
He has the wrong Janelle.
Yeah.
It's amazing. These guys that go out there looking to make Vince innocent. You cannot make guilty people like Vince McMahon. This is all caught up to him.
Yeah, that's right. It's like a lot of people in the wrestling business are drink the Kool-Aid, and they're in that wrestling bubble, and it can't seem to escape the bubble. But this is reality. This is what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Vince Vince is a very smart man.
Yeah.
But you know what? There are a lot of smart people that have done a lot of great things that were nuts, and Vince is one of them.
Yeah, and it seems odd that, like, you go back, I don't know when it was, in the 90s or something, where he beat the steroid trial. But this seems a lot more deeper than that. And is it stupid on Vince where he could have just, paid the $3 million to Janelle Grant and just stopped paying her? Yeah.
This is Vince. See, sometimes you get he underestimated his victim. That's what he did. Don't get me wrong, Janelle Grant most likely was in love with him. They were having an affair. But anybody that knows Vince McMahon would tell you that he's a dominant figure. He always wants to be in charge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people have to understand too, his wife is just as guilty as him, because I witnessed his wife along with him, what she did to my brother, what she did to my family, the damage that she's caused us. So this is not just Vince McMahon. These are the people around him. Stephanie McMahon. Ask Ashley Massaro's family what they think of Stephanie McMahon.
Yes.
You seem it goes on and on.
You seem to, on your podcast, hammer on Linda a lot. Like, there's a lot that I think you've had to deal with her personally, where people look at the image publicly and just think she's just a kind-hearted, sweet woman, and that's not the case, is it?
You're not married to Vince McMahon to be Vince McMahon doesn't want to be married to a kind-hearted woman. He wants to be married to a killer.
Yes.
Someone that's tough.
Yeah.
And that's what he has. And it's like I have a funny feeling that people don't realize that when the feds come down on Vince, and they will.
Yes.
They're going to hear a lot of things that are going to surprise the hell out of them. And first of all, here's the only thing that people have to understand. He took several $1 million from a company, and he paid off women from company funds. They weren't his funds.
Right.
They belonged to the company.
Right.
That right there alone, that's a felony.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about the other. I'm not talking about the stuff with Janelle. I'm talking about, if the feds are going to take him down, it's going to be on the legal stuff. taxes. Was any taxes paid on that money he took out of the company? Why did Jerry McDivitt leave right after that was done? Because Jerry McDivitt probably said, "Holy shit, this is out of control. I'm out of here."
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty bad when Jerry McDivitt, who is like his powerful attorney, says, "I'm out, I'm retired," and everybody
and
around.
Then you got Stephanie walked out the door because she knew what was going on, and it's all caught up to him. But here's the shame part: the man's 78 years old. God knows how his health is, and if he doesn't. He's already gotten away with this. No matter what happens, they could take him away tomorrow. He's still got away with this. He spent 78 years on this earth abusing and using his power.
Yeah.
I mean, remember, he worked with Pat Patterson, Mel Phillips, and Terry Garvin. He knew what all three of them were doing.
Yes.
And he did not care. He did not care. And we have evidence, and we're going to prove that evidence will be coming out.
Yeah.
And you guys will be very surprised how it comes out. And you're going to see evidence that is shocking.
I'm shocked now. I don't know. I lose myself in talking to you. Where do we stand with now that Vince has sold all his stock, he's completely out of the company. How does TKO stand, and where do we stand with Triple H? And now Stephanie is she back? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
TKO is being nice to Triple H, but I'm going to tell you one thing.
Yeah.
TKO is watching to see what the feds come down with. If the feds come down, here's what I believe. I believe that Triple H has probably already talked to the feds, made his decision what he's going to do. The feds don't take this long to question people, and I know they've questioned people, but I'll leave that at that.
Yeah.
And when it comes time for these people to save their own self from going to prison, and this is just like the informants, much tougher people. And John Laurinaitis has already said, "I will sell anybody out."
For sure. Yeah.
And he will because he is like your sleazy rat. He's like a Sammy Guevara. That's what I compare him with.
Yeah.
He was Vince's right hand man. Sammy Guevara was John Gotti's right hand. So what happened when it came time to do the time? They didn't do the time. They snitched on their bosses.
Yes. Yes. So is this what happens when we move forward? Because it seems like if everybody knows anything, it'd be Triple H, Stephanie, Bruce Pritchard's in there, and it just seems like they're still working for the company. Like, once we move forward, like, how does that work when the feds actually do come after you? How does all this work? Where do we go from here? Does Vince go to jail?
The feds already may have come after them, and that's why they're being held on to. And also, TKO is in a very good position here because, one, they conned Vince. A week after they got together, he was out of it. This is the Emanuel brothers. They're the ones that put a president in the White House.
Yes.
Yes. So the Emanuel brothers knew exactly what was going on in the company. Nobody's going to invest that kind of money or merge without putting private investigators out. So they knew everything that Vince did.
Yes.
And they said, okay, we can get in this company cheap. All we got to do is promise him we'll put him on the board. They sign. 1 week later, he's out. Isn't that too much of a coincidence?
Very much a coincidence. Very much a coincidence from a man that, as we know, would never, ever, ever leave his company. And he just...
That's because, that's what you hit right on the button.
Yeah.
What happened is the day they told him to step down, they brought him in, they sat him down, and they said, "Vince, this is what we know about you. This is what's going to happen." If Vince McMahon didn't know it was really bad, do you think he would have stepped down like that?
Never. Absolutely not.
Never.
Even at 78 years old, he's working until the day he dies for that company.
Yeah, and if he's not federally charged, do not be surprised if he buys out one of these organizations that are floundering, and him and his son do something together. I could see that happening. Because of his age,
okay.
He can't do something. Because of his age, he's going to need somebody to fall back on, and there's a lot of friction going on in that family, especially between Sean and Stephanie.
I'm curious about that because I hear the chatter out there about Vince starting his own company, which I really didn't believe. I thought that by the time he's out of this with all this heavy going on, I'm like, why would you be interested in starting your own company? But when I talk to somebody like you, it says like this man will do absolutely anything. You think that's the case? Because I was, listening to Russo the other day. I know you don't like him, but I think this is a valid point where he was talking about just last week that Jeff Jarrett opened up his licensing for Global Force again. And would that come together where you could team up with Jarrett because he's the McMahon's?
Well, here's what I think.
Yeah.
If Vince Russo came up with it, it's probably opposite.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and you know something? I didn't even know much about Vince Russo when I came into the mafia genre. To the wrestling genre.
Yeah.
And then I'm studying, I'm listening to him. I had no hard feel. And then when he did this thing with Janelle, stealing the phone at the bedside of Vince, I'm like,
that's stupid.
Once you say something like that, how can I take you serious on anything?
Yeah, that's absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. But yeah, I just thought maybe, it just seemed coincidental that, Jeff Jarrett, known to be a worker in the business as far as...
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Well, if Vince does this, he's going to need younger guys.
Yes.
Vince is capable of building empires by sitting in his house, guarantee you that. And there's still a lot of these old-time wrestlers that are dedicated to him. The guys that he made into multi-millionaires. Well, that they'll never turn against him.
And I'm sure there's even you would require some new talent as well. But it'd be interesting to see the new talent that kind of just the carrots dangled in front of them. They're not worried about all this stuff. They just go to work.
Yeah, and wrestling is like MMA.
Yeah.
What you have is these schools opening up all across the country, teaching people how to wrestle, and the schools aren't like they used to be, where they used to have 5 or 10 people. Now they got classrooms, so tons of classrooms. There's so much talent out there that they can pick amongst, and that's what the WWE did. They went and brought all these young guys in and women from these schools.
Yes.
And now some of them are champions.
Yeah,
so it's not hard to find them.
They kind of moved it their training, like the training schools that you talk about that are all over the country. They kind of did the same thing as they did to the territories and brought them in NXT to develop their own guys. Make them their own.
Yeah. And that's great. I'm doing a show tonight, and I'm comparing Vince McMahon to a godfather, and I got a couple mafia experts coming on my show. Tonight, 8:00, by the way.
Yeah.
Wrestling with the Devil. And I got a couple of people coming on, mob experts that know the mob inside out, and we're going to compare Vince McMahon to a mob boss.
Yeah.
Because Vince McMahon is a mob boss.
Very much so.
Yeah, and when Vince McMahon was when the territories, and you got to remember, this guy, like a mobster, went into territories and robbed the territories, strong-armed them, and took them over.
Absolutely, like a mob boss, yeah. And I've heard rumors before. I don't know, your brother and your family were involved back in these days, but I've heard rumors before where the mafia was very tight with Vince, where they can launder money through the arena business as like Madison Square Gardens or something like that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. You got to remember, when Vince started this business, it was a money business.
Yes, cash at the gate.
And this is where here's why he's lying about Mel Phillips. Did you know Mel Phillips is the one that collected money at those arenas?
No, I did not. No.
Yes, Mel Phillips would go collect the money. That's how much Vince trusted Mel Phillips.
Wow. Yeah.
And remember when he fired Mel and brought him back in '87? That's what he did in '87. And then he told Phil Munchnick, we fired him because of the boys. Mm-hmm. Because he had trouble with the boys. That was in '87. But a couple months after, he fired him, he brought him back. Because Mel probably said to him, Vince, you better bring me back. They gave him a big payoff when he left the company. He was a very important part of that company.
Yeah.
He just had his little thing where he liked boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
insane.
That's a whole different story. You'll see what's going to happen there. It's incredible. It's going to make Jerry Sandusky look like a saint.
Yeah. Now, does all that stuff come out when you're when this comes down, this indictment? Does all that stuff, is that too old now?
Well, here's what happens. If the indictment comes down, say the indictment comes down next month, then at that point, what they'll do with Janelle Grant's people will step back and put their case on pause.
From civil,
but that would be the best thing that happens to Janelle Grant, because Janelle Grant, she's not just aiming to Vince. she's aiming. They're going to aim for the WWE too.
Wow.
And I made
Interesting.
this prediction, and I'll make this prediction right here. Janelle Grant, if this goes into court, will wind up getting maybe the largest settlement in history for sexual for a sexual crime or accusation.
Yeah.
That's where she sits right now. They can go to Janelle Grant. Vince can go to Janelle Grant tomorrow and say, "I'll give you $50 million to go away." And Janelle Grant would say, "Really? Is that it, Vince?"
Yeah. It's weird. He had his chance to pay her off.
That,
it's like
that's when power when power gets in your way.
I just never seen Vince do something stupid like that, and it just seems like that is so obviously stupid. Like, you were only talking about $3 million at the time, and your ego got so big that you just said, "I'm stopping paying her." Much like Trump, where he stops paying his construction workers, they just finish up with it and just say they're done, and they own everything.
Well, the difference between Trump and this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon's cases are so accurate. There's no denying. It's like nobody's looking to frame him for any reason.
Yeah.
Like when you hear these silly people coming out saying they're putting these things, there's no question. If he goes into court, he's going to have a hard time fighting this. He could have the best lawyers in the world.
Yeah.
But Janelle Grant has the best lawyers in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And think about this. Janelle Grant lives in Connecticut. Her her main lawyer's in Springfield, outside of Springfield, St. Louis area. They're investigating services out of California. Mm-hmm. That's a nationwide law team right there.
Yeah, taking it
now,
down.
With all the money they got to spend, do you think they're going to settle for just $10 million?
No. No. Great point. Great point. What do you think the settlement will be? You're talking probably $150 million.
Yes, I think it's going to be unbelievable.
That's great.
And they know it,
Yeah.
and Vince knows it too. So what Vince is going to do? He's going to go out there and try to muddy the water. The other day he went to court and said, let's take this out of the courtroom,
mm-hmm.
and bring a moderator in. I'm sorry, wrong word there, but arbitration.
Right.
He would love arbitration
because it takes it out of the courtroom.
But it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's screwed on this one. Yeah.
This lawyer the lawyer that has that case. One, she was she was the head judge in the state of Illinois. Not only that, she's still a very young woman, and she also ran and just lost by a couple votes for Congress.
Okay.
She's also friends with Nancy Pelosi.
Okay.
This is a very powerful woman.
Right. Yes, so they're not taking just a small little payout. They don't need it because they already have power. They're after doing what's right here.
Power and Janelle, and they're going to make Janelle Grant. They're going to try to make her look as trampy as possible.
Yeah,
but the reality is this: Janelle Grant's already put it out there. She's not settling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the more, if Vince thought that Janelle Grant was going to be settling, do you think he would have attacked her the way he has this week?
No, I don't think so. I personally think the whole thing, besides the statements he made this week, but even dealing with the wrestling business, it just seemed quick the way TKO erased him from the wrestling business and The Rock coming in and WrestleMania and everything, that it kind of like buried this under the rug to me. That's how I've always felt. I know you say it's still out there, but for the wrestling fans,
TKO's trying to bury it. TKO might be friends with the feds for the doing. Who knows?
Yes.
We don't know what's going. Come on, look what's going on in this country now. Would anybody be surprised by anything?
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
It's nothing surprises me. But Vince McMahon. They had their let me give you an example. When these Ring Boys came out in 1992.
Yeah.
The feds had a choice. They can go after both cases, the steroid case. They chose the steroid case. And do you know that the feds didn't even I've talked to Ring Boys that had evidence, and the feds never went to see these kids back then. If the feds went to see these kids back then, this would have been over 35 years ago.
Oh, wow. Why would that happen where they wouldn't go see the kids?
power,
Yeah.
corruption. People know, Jerry McDivitt knows everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Putting a
Yeah,
stop to it.
I did a show with Tom Brokaw years ago, and the day before it was supposed to go onto TV, Dick Enberg, who's friends with Vince McMahon, they squashed the show.
Oh,
I did
wow.
a story with the Washington Post about 5 years ago, and the lady called me crying in the middle of the night, saying that they just pulled the story.
Oh, wow.
The reporter was so upset. At the last minute, they report. That's power.
Yes.
That's That's Vince McMahon knowing the right people. That's Jerry McDivitt knowing everybody.
Yes.
And Jerry McDivitt, for the longest period of time, was voted one of the top 10 lawyers in the country every year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I hope they don't pull this one off because this has been a fascinating conversation. I'm just curious before you go. I do want you to plug all your stuff, including the show tonight once again. But the story where Vince had you arrested strikes me as a good one. Like maybe not to you, but like it was just a story that I.
Well, no, it's my best friend. They flew my best friend up to Titan Towers, and my friend told them that I had a warrant for my arrest. They didn't realize I paid my restitution. That's where they messed up, and that's in the book by Ryzen. He talks. But they came in, they arrested me, and they took me down to New York, Westchester County, New York. I was they miscalculated. They didn't realize that I took care of my restitution. At that time, I was a wanted felon, and they thought they had me, but they didn't. And it's sad because they brainwashed my brother there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And it was unfortunate. I blame them for coming between me and my brother. My brother and I were very, very close before this started. From the very, my brother lived with me back then.
Yeah.
And he was like the little kid. I was helping him out. I was like a father figure to him. And then we got involved with this, and they did not care. They did it. They sued the New York Post and Phil Muchnick. And they came out with the scenario that Lee Cole and Phil Muchnick were working together to destroy the WWE.
Amazing.
I never met Phil Muchnick face to face, but they created that lawsuit with that in it.
Yeah.
Because what they wanted to do is they're very smart. They wanted to have the judge say, okay, basically no one can talk about this. So the newspaper the New York Post had to stop reporting. Phil Muchnick had to stop reporting on everything, and they kept him in court for 2 years.
Wow. Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah. And that's how they work. And if you go back and look at any of those old stories, they literally, it's just a guy. One day, within 2 weeks, my life dramatically changed, and all of a sudden they had me being a conspiracy to destroy the WWE, which I love wrestling. Why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
But that's how smart they are.
Amazing. And weren't you offered a payout too to leave the New York area from them?
They gave me $20,000, and they told me to go to Boston and disappear.
Wow.
And I went right back to my house and told them to go to hell and kept the money. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's like I never, by the third day of negotiations with Vince, we weren't getting along at all.
Yeah.
Because he robbed my, he broke into my answering machine. Back then, you could reach a answering machine through phones and service and stuff.
Sure.
It's much different back then.
Right.
It's funny. If this whole thing between Vince and my brother and I happened now, they would have knew right away who I was. They would have known everything right away, and they would have been able to get me out of the way within the first day. But they couldn't do it back then because it was 1992, 5 years before the internet really took off.
Yeah, they're chasing you down. They're chasing you down.
Yeah. And, they wanted me to talk to their private investigating service, Fairfax. And this is when Vince got mad at me because I told him no. And Vince goes, why not? I said, because I'm not going to, I said, I want nothing to do with no none of your investigators.
Wow. Lee, you got a fascinating story, man. You got an absolutely fascinating story. We're creeping up on time, but I would love to keep in touch with you and have you on every now and again as this develops even more, because you're the perfect person to describe all this to me, for someone that doesn't know this very well, and the audience that doesn't know any of it at all. I think you've been amazing. Do you want to go ahead and plug?
I like to tell your audience, do not listen to the dirt sheets. The dirt sheets are the wrestling sheets. Most of them, these guys are like wrestling fans.
Yes.
And that's always been the problem with this. People always considered it more wrestling and fake, even though all this bad stuff is true.
Sure, and anybody that's writing these sheets, their interest is in protecting it for their own personal, they need a job sort of thing.
Well, Vince McMahon will... listen, right? I went on Hannibal and I got him like 40,000 views, and a week later he had this guy Bill Thompson coming in from California putting some lying shit out. I didn't even know who this guy was. So it's obvious that someone called Hannibal. Now Hannibal is defending Vince, coming up with this crazy stuff. These people are behind the scenes and they know who they can go to. Put out stuff.
Yeah,
Russo has a dream in his head. Vince has opened up a new place. I'm going to go work for him again.
You got it. Yeah. Yeah, everybody's working an angle of some sort. Everybody's got a
storyline going.
Unbelievable. Lee, do you want to talk about your show tonight one more time and everything about your podcast?
Yeah, tonight, if you go to Wrestling with the Devil, Lee Cole podcast, it's on YouTube. I'm going to have some people in from the mob genre. And we're going to be talking about Vince McMahon and compare. Basically, the name of the show is The Godfather.
Yes,
because he is the Godfather.
Yeah,
and just so people know, Vince was tied to the Genovese family because the Genovese family in the 80s and 90s, they ran all the concessions and everything in New York, so Vince had to pay them. But there comes a time, and nobody gets away from back then from paying the mob. Nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you had a concession, you were paying them.
Yeah, New York. They ran New York.
Yeah, they ran New York. So, and we're going to talk about a story where one of these Genovese soldiers wanted to beat the shit out of Vince. They did beat the father up one time.
Oh.
And, we hear these from former Genovese soldiers.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So we're able to put these stories together, and this is the advantage that we have over these people in the wrestling industry.
Yeah.
They don't realize that the business that Vince McMahon his father started off in East Harlem, an Irish neighborhood.
Yeah.
And his father owned a venue with boxing and stuff. And back then, the Irish mob ran that part. So that family's been mobbed up since the 20s.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a venue like that in the mafia territory back then without being mobbed up.
That's right.
And it lasted through the whole family. I guarantee you that. Then the mob started fading out in the 80s and 90s, and after that, Vince had no mob to answer to no more.
Yeah,
he was the mob.
And just before I let you go again, I know you're friends with John Gotti's daughter. Like, they were running it all the way up to the Gotti years with Scores, the nightclub, and everything. I recall all those stories too.
Yeah, Angel and I are best friends. We're not just friends, and we talk every day, three, 4 times a day.
Okay.
And it's. But I've lived an odd life. Sammy Gravano. I drove up on him and asked him about a boy he killed, Alan Kaiser, and his son punched me in the face, and I got it on camera.
Yeah.
If you go to my channel, if you go to the mob channel,
I saw that.
Now it's James' channel.
Yeah.
And you open it up, the first thing you see is when Sammy's son, I'm confronting Sammy Gravano on the short.
Amazing. Amazing.
So, listen, I'm 64. I don't want to be. I figure if I'm going to drop dead tomorrow, at least I had an exciting life.
Hey man, I appreciate you, Lee, and it's been an exciting life, and I know it feels weird for me to say I appreciate you because you've actually lived a hard life. It's I don't know the words to describe.
Actually, I would not change my life for nothing.
Nothing, really. You would
nothing.
Never.
I grew up as a kid in the streets in New York. When I was 16, 17, I was living in Times Square. I wouldn't change a damn thing because I've had a real life.
Yeah.
I've been out there. I've been all over the country. I've been arrested in several states. You know?
Yes. You are the real deal, my man, and I appreciate you coming on the air today, Lee. And we will keep in touch, and we'll have you back on here. And everybody check out Wrestling with the Devil and the Mob channel. What is that one, Lee?
That's called Lee Cole 3 and James Proctor.
Yeah.
You just put in Lee Cole 3, and the channel will pop up.
Okay, and Wrestling with the Devil, you're doing a live stream tonight at 8 o'clock?
Yes, and the Mob channel at 6 o'clock has an interview with Michael Francis, who has over almost 2 million followers.
Amazing.
We're so that he's going to be interviewed, and he doesn't go to the smaller channels, but he came. He decided to go on because he likes James. He doesn't like me, but he likes James.
Okay.
And so James is going to be interviewing him.
That's amazing. You got some interesting stuff there on YouTube, and I'll be tuning in tonight, and I hope everybody else does as well, Lee.
Hey, thank you guys, too. You did a great job with the interview. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lee. I didn't have as much to say on account of Jay Moore is the manager of champions of the wrestling world all across Canada.
I'm nervous.
But the one thing that stood out to me, Lee, is that you got to be incredibly brave just to go about your daily business without looking over your shoulder all the time.
Listen, sometimes, something, I'm kind of crazy like that. My insanity is my drug. And I don't smoke crack. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't drink. So I got to do something. But I got to have some type of vice. I guess insanity is my vice.
Great stories, really great stories, inspirational. And they bring to light all this stuff that people.
Anytime you guys want to call me and want to talk to me, just let me know. I'll jump on anytime you want me.
Absolutely. We'll keep it going, Lee, man. I appreciate you.
Okay, you take care. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Lee. Lee Cole III. Wow. Jay Moore, excuse me. I got that frog back in my throat sitting there listening for so long.
I know.
But it's just amazing the stories that he's got and the memory that he's got for all the people that he was involved with.
He's a heavy hitter, and that's why I'm so appreciative that he came on, and I hope to develop a relationship on the air here and have Lee every now and again here on 4680Q on the Infamous Jay Moore Show with Pat Porter.
There you go. Yeah.
Or even on your show, Pat Porter. He's got some interesting story, and I like to get a little bit more out of him.
He's a brave guy.
It's almost too bad that we only run an hour show because I can go all night talking to him. He's amazing. He's amazing. And I hope that the audience, there's a lot of wrestling fans here in this area, in the Niagara region, that, they look at me as the Infamous Jay Moore, the heel manager, the manager of champions. Pat, you've been in the ring with me many, many times. We've been entertaining the crowd. But I just want them to know that I bring Lee on here because this is the other side of wrestling that you don't get to hear. These are something that I'm doing for the audience, for the fans, not for any credibility. I mean, I'm not looking to pop a rating here on this show. I'm just looking at it as, this is real life deal. These allegations are completely real, and I'm bringing in the most credible source that I could find out there.
Yeah,
a man that's known Vince McMahon, done business with Vince McMahon, and his brother died because of Vince McMahon, and a lot of.
He's a brave guy. I'll tell you, if that were me, I think I'd keep my mouth shut and I'd hide. I wouldn't go on the radio or the television and be talking about all these people because, these guys are killers.
His insanity is his drug. And you heard him earlier on in the show. Like a lot of those shows that got pulled because of Vince McMahon from back in the day.
You don't want to fool around with him.
You do not want to fool around with Vince McMahon. And but Lee Cole is the man that he's getting it done. So shout out to Lee Cole. Yeah.
All right. We'll get him back on again for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Jay Moore. Wow, quite an amazing show.
It's been a little bit nutty.
It really has. I'm amazed at the knowledge that you have of the ins and the outs of the mafia, how it relates to wrestling. Not only in Canada, but also in the States, primarily in the States.
Well, like I say, maybe this is new to our audience, but this is something that we could tap into from time to time. Yeah. So. There you go, Pat.
I'm gonna look both ways when I go out the door tonight. Though.
Hey, sure are.
I'll tell you, I'm not look around.
We might get pulled off the air. That might be the end of our career here.
Hey, everybody! If you don't hear us, come looking for us.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up like this, Pat Porter, and we will see you Tuesday night at 8 o'clock here on 4680Q.
All right. Very good. Jay Moore, the infamous Jay Moore, and yours truly, Pat Porter. quite a show today. This is gonna be a podcast, and probably tonight or early tomorrow, and you'll have a chance to listen to it in detail if you missed any of it, and play it for your friends and amaze them as well. Yeah.
And once again,
one more second. Let me get you back.
I just want to once again thank Lee Cole, because I really do appreciate him taking the time. He doesn't have to do that for us, and
No.
he did that like a man. And shout outs to you, Lee. So thank you.
Yeah, Wrestling with the Devil is the
Yeah.
podcast, and
Yes.
that's on tonight at 8:00. You
Yeah,
can,
live
find
stream
that. Yeah.
comparing Vince McMahon with the Godfathers of the Mafia.
Oh, definitely.
That should be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. 4680q.com, 4680q.ca. We're back. Going to be back on Tuesday night at 8:00. We'll catch you then.